Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of big business. Today we're diving into a document from Mara Holdings, and let me tell you, it's not your average filing. Get ready for some boardroom drama because this company is playing a high-stakes game of corporate chess. Let's start with the basics. This is a Form 8K, which companies file to report major events. The date to keep in mind is February 19th, 2025. That's when the events really got rolling. Our company is Mara Holdings Incorporated. They're based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. All right, let's get into the juicy stuff. The first major item is titled Amendments to Articles of Incorporation or Bylaws. Change in fiscal year. It sounds super boring, but trust me, it's not. This means they're changing their own rules. Think of it like a sports team changing the rules mid-game. First up, a certificate of amendment. Basically, they're increasing the number of shares of their stock that they're allowed to issue. They're going from 500 million shares to 800 million shares. That's a huge jump. Why would a company do this? Well, more shares mean more opportunities to raise money, maybe for an acquisition or to fund their operations. But it also means that existing shareholders' ownership gets diluted because there's a bigger pie to divide. Next, we have a certificate of withdrawal. This has to do with something called Series X preferred stock. Without getting too technical, preferred stock is a special type of stock that has certain advantages over regular common stock. In this case, Mara Holdings got rid of a previous designation of 13 million shares of this special preferred stock. They essentially withdrew it from existence. This simplifies their stock structure, making it easier to manage. Now let's move on to submission of matters to a vote of security holders. This is about a special meeting they held with their shareholders. On February 19th, 2025, Mara Holdings had a special meeting with its stockholders. The main reason for the gathering was to get the go-ahead for that change to their company rules we just discussed, specifically to allow more shares to be created. If you want to see the full details, you can check out their definitive proxy statement filed on January 21st, 2025. That document would have all the specifics of what they were asking shareholders to vote on. So what happened at the meeting? Well, about 184 million shares were represented, which meant they had enough people present to make decisions. This constitutes a quorum. The first thing the stockholders voted on was approving that charter change, the one that allows them to issue more shares. And guess what? They approved it. The vote required a majority and it passed. They also had a second proposal, something about adjourning or postponing the meeting to get more votes. But because the first proposal passed, they didn't even need to vote on this one. The last bit of this filing simply lists the exhibits or attachments to the report, including the amendment to Articles of Incorporation and Certificate of Withdrawal. These exhibits are basically the official documents that prove the changes they talked about actually happened. So what does all of this mean? Mara Holdings is making some significant moves. They're giving themselves the ability to raise more money by issuing more stock, and they're cleaning up their stock structure by getting rid of that preferred stock designation. Whether these are good moves for the company in the long run, only time will tell. Now let's step back and take a broader view. Mara Holdings seems to be positioning itself for growth. By increasing the number of authorized shares, they're giving themselves the flexibility to make acquisitions, invest in new projects, or simply raise capital as needed. This could be a sign of strength, indicating they have ambitious plans for the future. However, there are risks involved. Diluting existing shareholders' ownership can be unpopular, and it could put downward pressure on the stock price in the short term. Additionally, successfully deploying the newly available capital will be crucial. If they make poor investment decisions, the increased share count could end up hurting the company more than helping it. From a valuation perspective, Mara Holdings is a bit tricky. Without getting into specific numbers, let's just say their current market capitalization reflects a degree of optimism about their future prospects. This means the stock price could be vulnerable if they fail to meet expectations. Taking everything into account, I'm leaning towards a neutral to slightly bullish outlook on Mara Holdings. Their strategic moves suggest they're aiming for growth, but they also need to execute those moves effectively. A reasonable price range for the stock in the next year would be anywhere between $17 to $21, taking into account both their potential and the inherent risks. If I were forced to pick a direction, I'd place slightly bullish, as they seem to be well equipped to handle what the future has to offer. Thanks for watching this episode of Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings. We'll keep decoding so you stay informed. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment letting us know what company you want us to investigate next.